Hello everyone, I am Miserluke, and welcome to battle number 93 of the Promethean Round, and one of our longest battles yet. This is a absolutely massive one that happened at the Tehuapec capital of Tepetl-Altepet, where the BAEL HQ forces all concentrated over here to work on a defense alongside their subjects in the Tehuapec, but Tehuapec decided they didn't like being the global pariah that they were, or the regional pariah that they were, so they decided to break away and declare war on the BAEL organization that were currently in their capital. So here we have all of the Tehuapec fleets, their capital defenses, and a random relic fleet that's here, alongside a event-sponsored reinforcement that was that weird but very cool-looking black and red craft we saw earlier, up against all of the BAEL fleets pretty much. They've got their really big Lucre Hulk-looking thing, as well as some ground and sea forces. Tehuapec, in terms of defenses, have a few big like Doom Cram forts. They have some smaller forts that are like AA, and then they have a bunch of fleets out in the bay there. And then there's the Gorgon, which is that big relic hovering thing with some missile spammer, and then some relic aircraft as well. And there might be some Tehuapec airships, but I'm not certain. This battle took close to, there's the Gorgon already in the water. And that cool event thing I was talking about. This battle took like 2 hours to record. Just because of the size of it, there were a lot of craft to destroy and a lot of craft to slow down computers. Also, rest in peace, that ship that just got rammed. But also keep in mind, in this battle, the objective is to take down the Lucre Hulk-looking base. If that gets destroyed, then it was known at this point that BAEL's operations would cease. The towers would stop polluting the atmosphere and trying to chemically alter it into a composition more favorable to the BAEL sublimits, but a lot less comfortable for every other living thing. And naturally, a lot of people wanted BAEL dead, which is why we had some of the previous battles with Sector 7, and why Relic was happy to join in this war even as they were losing theirs, and also why Zenixel even contributed some forces, or started to before BAEL eventually got defeated. But yeah, so that's what's happening in this one. Rest in peace, the Gorgon. It's left all of us little missile children on the water. Ooh, and rest in peace that guy. I don't know what took it down. Some random cram rapias or something. Looks like the Lucre Hulk has grounded itself. And might already, it is already despawning. So as soon as it finishes despawning, that's it. BAEL is defeated. The rest of this is to see whether or not the city will be in complete tatters or if anything will be left. And whether or not there might be anything that BAEL could potentially use to carry on a guerrilla war of some kind after their technical strategic defeat. But that didn't end up happening either way. Because Kumomo is very much absent, as is the rest of the BAEL team. Except for Helios. Helios is still around. Yep, that's kind of all I got for you. In terms of greater context. I believe we had Fally recording this one. And this is the point where it's just like, this is a big battle. Sometimes you just need to park the camera somewhere and forget about the battle for a bit and go do whatever else you need to do. And this was one of those points. I bet now that my PC could run this battle, but it probably wouldn't be any faster. So, upgrades, people, upgrades. Oh yeah, there were a bunch of BAEL drills that were featured. They're classic tunnel bore looking guys. And eventually we'll spend a decent amount of time just looking at one of the forts and how some of those drills have gotten themselves embedded, because it's hilarious. Oh, there's one of the Tehuapec warships, probably a heavy cruiser or a battleship or battlecruiser. Another one. And that one's capsized. Yep, there are some smaller defenses for Tehuapec that are scattered around, but really a lot of their force is concentrated in those 3 big forts. And you'll see later why that may or may not have been such a great idea. As it turns out, big forts can get flanked, and they can also get drills embedded in them. I feel like it's very soon that we're going to look at that, but it's been a long time since this battle was filmed, and I have slept a few times since then. As always with battles this large, it's really hard to keep track of where the action is at. You don't know if it's going to be one of the big Baelcraft to get killed next, or some random little guy. If it'll be the right side that's interesting, or the left. There goes a Doom Cram. And another one. Too bad we're not looking. I think they're going after a big downed cargo transport thing. But I could be wrong. It could at this point be a flying transport thing that I only later realized was down once that became the center of the battle. Looks like that guy's grounded, and I bet a lot of his shots end up just hitting the ground. Obviously not the ones that are heading behind him, but anything going forward. Here we are. Yep. Look at that. Look at that drill embedded in the top. And the one in the turret. There is a drill inside of the Doom Cram. That is not good. Very slow damage being dealt by both sides. But we're now through the most of it. At this point, a lot of the big, interesting action stuff has been done, but we're soon approaching the point where we'll finally see some other big stuff die, like the forts. Or this downed transport over here that's drawing like all of the fire because it's the biggest thing, but some things can't hit it because it's on the big plateau. Or because they're bad at aiming. The in-game speed wasn't terrible on this one, but it definitely was not good. Another Doom Cram to follow, and check the AI menu as we go. This one's gonna hit though. And check out a decent section of beams. But when what you're facing is just a bunch of beams, that's not as valuable as it could be, nor as meaningful. Yep, there you can see more of the drills. And look at that guy, he's just in a pocket. Somehow that drill is like parallel to the top surface. It just embedded itself there. And I think it ran out of power to power the drill. That's probably why it stopped and didn't like drill its way out of the pocket. If those guys are like steam powered, they may not be able to recharge their tanks. They may just have like no ability to refuel or something. It'd be cool if there was a From the Depths replay mod, like I know there's for Minecraft, where you can record a set of actions and then run them back later with your camera wherever you want. That'd be really cool, because it also means that you could probably run that playback at 100% speed, because all the physics stuff was already pre-calculated, as long as you've got a good enough graphics card to re-render whatever areas you're looking at. Here's your daily reminder to stay hydrated and drink some water. And if you don't have a cup of water by your desk, make sure you get some. At this point, we're checking all the BAEL craft to see whether or not they're armed and able to contribute anything to the battle. Just trying to prune something to get the battle to run faster and end sooner. And this guy is slowly dying and got killed to save us the CPU load. Yeah, look at those guys. That guy's just drilled all the way in there and got stuck. The pocket guy will stay because he's fine. Doom Cram guy gets despawned, the guy up front. There goes one of the smaller defenses. You can see there's still a lot of BAEL craft left. At this point, just the stationary defenses. For Tehuapec. Oh, there goes that the couple of the forts despawning. And that's the point where it's very, very clear that Tehuapec aren't going to be able to come back from this. Their whole battles, or their whole capital is going to get destroyed by BAEL. Or at the very least captured and ransacked. As the very last act of that mega corporation. Now all that remains is the little forts to get cleaned up. Of which I think 4 remain at this point in time. Yep, just a very quick cleanup, and that will end it. Thank you all for watching this one. Now all it will do is just a quick pan around, look at all the Baelcraft, because they're really cool designs. And it also gives you an idea of just how close this battle was and how much there may have been left. But anyway, that is all of it from me. Thank you for watching.